Hi everyone, we're back. We had a little bit of troubleshooting over here. We're not the best with technology, are we, Mom?
No, we are not. But we are giving it the good old crazy crafting go.
So we are back, and Kara was actually telling you guys what you got in your box. So we're going to start with that, okay?
Okay, so we'll start with that. We're back. We're not going to touch anything, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What a way. This is a Happy New Year. So we all got these wonderful instructions. There are 7 projects on here. If at any time you need to leave, take a break, or we have a technical difficulty, we have the picture and we have the written instructions. So that's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and go down so that you can see what I'm talking about. These are the instructions. So then the other thing that we had were the stickers, and I was telling you all how many stickers are in this packet. There's so many. Look at all these stickers. How fun. So you're going to have a lot of leftovers after we make our 7 projects. Maybe you'll have a favorite one that you want to do again, but you'll have lots of supplies left over. So we got all these stickers in our box. Then we got these 7 paper packets, and these represent the papers you're going to need to make each project. So we'll be telling you which one to pull as we go through, but that's what we'll need to make the card. And then last but not least is our handmade microfine glitter paper, which Michelle is in charge of making all of this. So we're going to have a lot of leftover glitter paper today as well. So I'm sure that you can definitely always use the glitter paper. So that's what's in our box, and we're going to just jump in and get started. So let's look at our first card. All right, so our first card is this Get Well card. And what I love about this card, because it's an all occasion box, is that we have different occasions. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, there is no Get Well Soon sticker. I actually did that on my computer because that's the sentiment I wanted to use, and usually I would give you guys that, but honestly, I forgot. We have a couple hiccups in this box because we've been going through this transition of not having Jackie, who we've relied on, and so we're trying to just kind of fix things. So don't worry, I'll be mailing that out to each of you. I know your addresses out there, so we'll get you a computer Get Well Soon, so don't worry about that. But this is the card. I think it's so cute. I love the robe. It's one of the stickers that we did way back when in the beginning. So let's get started and see what we need. Okay. So the first thing we're going to grab is you're going to look for the packet that has this beautiful micro dot paper, and we're going to need that. We're going to look for the robe sticker, the dots, and the border. So we got these wonderful dot stickers right here, and then our border stickers are also silver. So let's take these out of the packet. And I apologize if you have to hear the crinkling of paper. But that's that. All right, and then we're going to look for the robe. So that will be all we need, is we need the dots, border, robe. Okay, and there we go with that. So I'm going to put all my other supplies. Wow, I had a little chair here, but I'm going to put them to the side. And then I'm going to go ahead and get myself situated. All right. So the first thing we're going to need is our paper trimmer. Now, the one thing that I did when we were writing the instructions is I tried to write a little bit. I'm just going to kind of get that the way we want it. I try to write so that you can see where the cuts are by highlighting that kind of in a green here. So the very first thing is, let's take everything out of the packet. Okay, and in here we're going to have an envelope, so we could put that aside because we're not ready to mail that to anybody. But you're going to see these papers. And in here is a pre-scored card. So we're going to go ahead and fold the card right along that pre-scored line. Now, if you have a bone folder, that's great. I happen to have mine just to get that crease. And then at this point, I usually put this aside. This is my last step because what I like to do is to build my card base. And if you notice, there's no card on the back. And I put that on last. And that will fit exactly this pre-scored card. So when you open it, it's all set. So I always do this last because I like to work on a flat surface. So we'll put that aside, and now we have our papers, and we're going to cut these papers. So let's see what the instructions say. Okay, so it says the very first thing is trim the gray cardstock 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's a typical A2 card size. So if we measure this already, it's at 5 1/2. So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to cut the 4 1/4, and that becomes our card base. Okay, so actually you get 2 in here, but we're going to be cutting one of them. So we only need one, so we're going to have that. The next instruction is trim the gray dot paper 4 inches by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and put this in and do the 4 inches. We're going to cut at 4, and then we're going to turn this around and we're going to cut at 5 1/4 because currently it's at 5 1/2. So we want to cut off a little bit of that. And now we have that. All right, next instruction, we're back to that gray cardstock. So this piece that we had, trim 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. So let's go ahead and do 2 1/4. So 2 1/4. And if I'm going a little fast, it's all written down on your instructions. Whoops, I did that wrong. So hopefully you didn't do what I did, because I did that wrong. So if you did, find a gray paper. We'll come back to that. So what should have happened was we were at 5 1/2, and I should have done it this way. Actually, I think we'll just piece it together. So if you did it that way, follow what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 2 1/4 this way. And we'll just piece it because, as you see, this gray cardstock is going to go over that. And that's the thing. Lots of ways to work around. All right, so I've now cut these 2 pieces at 2 1/4. And I need to make this equal 4 3/4. So I'm just going to trim this off. And now I have 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. See how I did that, Michelle? Pretty creative, huh? Okay. All right, so now trim the gray thread paper. This is one of my favorite papers. I love it. And we're not going to make the same mistake. So we know that we need 4 1/2. So we're going to do 2 inches wide. So we're going to cut this way. So 2 inches by 4 1/2. Okay, we got that piece. And then last, what else do we have here? Trim the white cardstock 3 1/4 by 1/2. So I'm just going to go and do all my cutting now. So that's why I'm skipping down. So I'm going to trim the white cardstock 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch. All right. So here's a 1/2 inch. And it's actually for this part. So we could just do it as a placeholder. But honestly, I'm going to send you some white cardstock that you can cut down. But I'm just going to do it, and then you could change it out. Maybe you have a different sentiment you want to put on here. So this is this part right here. And then it looks like we're going to need the dot paper. So the dot paper is going to be 3 1/2 by 3/4. So I'm going to do my 3/4, and then I'm going to do my 3 1/2. Okay. And I think that seems to be all the cutting that we need. So all the other papers we're going to put aside. And I'm going to put my glitter paper aside there. And we're going to save that for a different project. I'm going to take my paper cutter away. And we're going to assemble the card. So as I assemble the card, I'm going to go in a little bit. Am I making you guys dizzy there? Okay. All right. So there's that. So the very first thing we have to do is we're going to put this gray dot right in the center of the gray cardstock. So let's go ahead. I'm going to be using my Tombow dot roller. And we're going to go ahead. Yeah, that's our little Bailey here. In case you hear a dog, that's our dog. That's Michelle's dog specifically. Okay, so I put the gray mini dot in the center of the gray cardstock. And then we're going to go ahead and put the two pieces that I have here. We're going to line them up so they're kind of like this, and I have about 1/4 of an inch here, so we're going to kind of put them down like this, and then we're going to put this on here. Okay, so if you didn't make the mistake, then you should have one piece. I made a mistake, so I have two. So, but like we always say, no mistakes in scrapbooking, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead, put this on so it has about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to put this one right below. And with the thread in the gray cardstock, I think you don't even know. Okay, now we're going to put this one right on top. It's going to go just in the center of that. Just like that.
I'm going to cut in and just say that I am looking at the comments on Facebook. I do have to declare that I have not had a Facebook since 2013, so bear with me, I am figuring it out. But Ben, I saw that you said YouTube is down. I hope that's working for you. And I see all your hellos, so thank you so much. I'm on there and I'm looking for any questions you have, okay?
All right, thank you, Michelle. Okay, so I went ahead now and I put the white on the dot. Now remember, if you're going to use my sentiment that I'm going to mail you, it can go right over this, or you could just skip this part if you want. So however you want to deal with it. So the next thing before we put this on here, we need to go ahead and find our border stickers. So here's our border stickers. I absolutely love the Krazy Creations border stickers because every single thing on this sheet is usable. Now if you look closely, you're going to see scallops, you're going to see a straight line, and you're going to see diamonds. So there are three different design of border on here. So on here, looks like I use the diamonds. So let's find the diamonds. So the very first one is the scallop, and the second one in here is a diamond. So as you can see, diamonds right there, they are a girl's best friend, right? So all we're going to do is take our border and we're going to go all around this gray pattern paper. Okay. Very good. And now you are going to have to trim the excess. So I'm going to get my scissors. I'm going to trim. And I'm going to save this for this bottom part, but I like to go side side and then do the bottom so that the same part is on the top or the bottom when you're doing it. So I'm going to look for the next diamond. Here we go. All right, and we're going to put that down. Okay, there we go with that. And then I'm going to trim. And then, like I said, we're going to go across on the top and the bottom. But look how that really adds an extra something here. It's like having a frame, which I think it just really makes the paper kind of pop out, which I think is really nice about the border stickers. Now, let's say you wanted a different color border sticker. What's so nice about the silver is you can color that with your alcohol ink marker, and it's alcohol ink markers are permanent markers, so therefore you would alter the color permanently. So if I wanted a pink border, I could have used a pink pen on top of my border and then put it down. You always want to do that before you peel it and put it down. Okay, now we need 3 dots, so let's go ahead and put our dots. Now I'm going to show you a little tip. I find it hard to get these dots, so I like to weed the paper. So weeding is, I went ahead, folded over the corner. I'm going to take this top part and take it off. Now by doing that, it's going to be so much easier for me to find the dot. Okay, so here's a dot. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so if any of you feel that you did not get an eraser, Michelle's giving me the note. That was not really supposed to be in the box, but we will look you up and try to get you one. We didn't have enough in inventory, so I discovered that after they went. So that'll be one of our corrections. We're going to have a couple corrections. It'll be the sentiment for this card, and then as we go along, so eraser is on my tally. Not everybody got to have the eraser, only if you purchased in a certain time. But the problem is I didn't realize that was part of the promotion. But if you ordered early, you got these great tweezers, which was a really nice gift. And I should tell you, the other gift that you got was this weeding tool. This is super cool. It has rose gold. The glitter is different colors, but the tip has this very fine kind of tool to help you peel and pick at little pieces of the vinyl sticker. So I think that's really cool. So just let us know if you think you're an eraser person, and I'll confirm, but I do have the list, so I know who should have gotten one.
Yes, we will be taking care of that. And that's a really cool tool, Mom.
I know, isn't that cool?
Yeah, I think that will be great for words when you have like little dots stuck in there.
Absolutely. So if anything, I think you got the coolest gifts if you ordered early.
I use those tweezers for everything. They're like in every room in my house.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, put this on, and then we pretty much have our whole card set up and we're ready to color. So we're going to put this sentiment piece on right here. I think I'll put it like right there. And there we go. Okay, so as Michelle, Mike, and I work through our company, be patient with us. But we're here. We're always going to have fun, and we're here to give good customer service. Okay? All right, there's our card. So now we're on to doing the glitter part. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to now locate our glitter paper. Here we go.
Every piece of glitter paper was made with love by moi.
By you, huh, Michelle?
Oh, well, you know, I do have some help sometimes. Shout out Becky Ann. Woo! Did you want to go over this glitter paper?
You can. When I'm rubbing it.
Yes.
So I am rubbing it because...
What is the fancy word we use?
Burnish.
Burnish, yes. So that means just rubbing it with your fingers. We do this for 2 main reasons. One, it's going to get some of that extra glitter off. There's not much, but the oils in your fingers will make it shinier, and we like shiny. The shinier, the better. And the second reason is you are putting it down on the score tape, which is the sticky part that holds the glitter. So when you go and put your stickers on and color, it will stay in the lines. So you will have more precision if you burnish.
Okay, so now that we've done that and we removed any excess glitter, I'm going to go ahead to the under the weather sticker, and I'm going to peel a robe. Now notice on this particular sticker there are 4 images. So actually there are 4 robes, 4 tissues, 4 slippers. So that means it's one that repeats 4 times instead of our usual 3. So I'm going to go ahead, put that robe down. I'm then going to locate the slippers. And you could weed this one too, you know, like I showed you with the dots. A lot of times I'll do that, but I'm not doing it right now. But it does make it a little bit easier to find your images if you weed. Okay. So then we're going to have tissue, and here we go. All right, so we now have the 3 images right there. Okay, so now the next thing before we can color is you have to take a burnishing tool, and this is our little mini brayer roller. It is a wonderful tool, but you're going to want to roll right on the glitter paper, because what we want to do is make sure that these stickers are adhered really tightly to the glitter paper. Now you can turn this over, rub from the back if you don't have that tool. By the way, you really should get that tool, it's great. And then that should be good. Now our stickers go on anything, so if you were using, let's say, paper, you don't really have to do that step as much, okay? All right, so here's our robe. It looks like I went ahead and I used pinks. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and if you haven't seen this yet, this is my caddy. I'll kind of go out, but we have these Olo marker caddies. They are great. They hold all the markers, and I can see both sides because it spins. So Mr. Krazy makes this. All right, so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to look for RV 1.5, and I'm going to also look for RV 1.7, and I'm going to look for RV 1.3. Okay, and then I also like this really light pink, so I'm going to use R5.1. So those are the main ones that I'm going to use right here for the robe. For the slippers, let's go ahead and use this O4.6 and O4.3. Again, some of these are in our new Expo 7 set, so that's where you would find those. And then I'm also going to use BG 0.4 and BG 2.3. Okay, so that's going to be for the tissue. So these are the markers that we're using, and I'll go ahead and I'll put them, the caps up so you could see as I'm using them. Okay. All right, so now let's start with the robe itself. And let's start easy. So do you see this part back here? I only did that in one color. So I'm going to use, actually, I think I'm going to use 5.3. So let's see, that should be there. And what we're going to do is just simply color. Okay, and I don't even care if it gets a little bit over. Actually, I did use 5.1, but I like 5.3 too. Okay, so that's all I did with that. So now let's go ahead and color the robe. So sometimes when you want to see what the color is going to look like, I have my swatch book that we now use, and you can see here's that RV 1.5. Here's what, RV 1.3 is going to look like, just to kind of give you a reference. And if I want, I have to see if I like RV 1.7. So that's pretty dark. So I think I'm going to stick more or less with this 1.5 and 1.3. Okay, so here comes the 1.5, and I'm just going to color where I want the shadows. Okay, so I'm just going to do this part right here first, and then I'm going to come in with my 1.3, and I'm just going to start at the end of that one and bring it all the way down. Now I do want to let you know that your colors are going to change a little bit as they dry. So go ahead and color and then see what it's going to look like. Or maybe later you want to add more dark to it or something. So there's all kinds of ways you could go about that. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to do the same thing with the pocket, the cuffs, and the belt. So I'm going to add a little bit of this RV 1.5. Notice that I don't put the caps back on my Olo markers because with Olo you actually want to keep the caps off. I'm now on my RV 1.3. If you keep taking the caps on and off, you might mess with the mechanism that releases the ink. So therefore you don't want to keep pulling them on, off, on, off. So I'm now coloring my belt. RV 1.5. Come back with the RV 1.3. There we go. Okay, so we've done the dark part of all of this. Now, if at any time you got some dark on your lighter color, just use a piece of scrap paper, tap off, and that darker color will come off. It'll go back to the normal color. Okay, so now for the robe, to make it a little bit lighter, we're going to mix it up. And this RV 1.3 is going to become the darker color. So we're going to shade now with our RV 1.3. And where to put the shading, that's a whole nother class. But basically, I tell people it doesn't really matter as long as you have some shading. Otherwise, if you have nothing, it doesn't look, it looks flat. So like this is pretty flat. So maybe we'll add some color there. So now I'm going to that 5.1, and I'm going to use that as my light color. And you can see how that RV 1.3 now became the darker color, where it was the lighter color when we did the cuffs and the collar and all the other. And there we go. So again, I'm using R 5.1. Okay. Now we're going to work our way down here. Make sure I have RV 1.3. I do. And you only want to do little bits at a time because you don't want your ink to dry too much because you do want it to blend. So I did the top. Now I'm going to do the bottom. And then I'm going to come in with my lighter color. Now one thing about our glitter paper is you don't want to work a spot over and over. Keep the brush moving. If you need to come back to an area, let it dry for a few seconds. Otherwise, you might worry the glitter off the paper. So you don't want to do that. Okay, there's my blending. And I noticed that I didn't have any right here, so I'm just going to add a little dot there. Kind of go down like that. Okay, there's my robe. I'm liking it. It looks like a fuzzy, fun robe. Now I told you this was a little dark, so I'm going to come in and add this little bit of RV 1.3, and then I'm going to do the 5.1 there. All right, I like that a little better. So that's the robe. We'll let that dry, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to do our little slippers. I love these slippers. They remind me of my favorite ones, which are the ones I wear at home. So I'm using my dark brown right here Then I'm going to use the 4.3. Now, do you have to use the colors I'm using? No. These are suggested colors that I used in my samples, but obviously slippers can be a lot of different colors. So I'm going to use that light color just for the inside here. And yeah, sometimes I dot when I'm coloring. Just depends what I feel like doing. But look how pretty those are. Aren't they great?
If you wanted gray slippers, what colors would you suggest?
The gray slippers, you could do the WGs, which are warm gray, and we have 3 and 9. You want to be very light on the 9. Or if you use cool gray, unfortunately, the cool gray is somewhat purple in the Olo, but the good news is they're fixing that, and they'll have new cool grays that are more gray than purple. Those are the colors. Okay, so now I'm going to do the tissue. So I am going to use my BG 0.4 as my darker color for my tissue box. And then we're going to come in with this BG 2.3. And I love this color. In fact, it reminds me a lot of an ocean, and I like that. Okay, now for the tissue, I want something really, really light. So I'm going to look for this B 2.0. So B 2.0, you can see how light that is. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of that in here. And there we go. So we've now colored everything. Now, if you're not familiar, these little barcodes tell you the color of the pen, so therefore you can match the caps to the right side, because sometimes some of us don't do that, and then we are surprised when we go to use that color, right? And what I love about our new Olo Caddy is I could just slide these back right in, and I'm ready to go. So if you haven't gotten this Caddy yet, you're missing out. On our website. Okay, so now that we have this, the next step is to trim them out. So when I say trim them out, what I mean is using your scissors, following the outline of the sticker, and you are going to trim all of this out so that it becomes just like this, the image. And then you're going to use your adhesive on the back, and you are going to put it onto the card as shown. Okay, so your homework will be to trim these out, and then you will be putting them on your card base. And there we go, we have made our very first card. Woohoo! Let's hear it for that. I think that's exciting. All right, so let's just jump into the next card. What do you say, Michelle?
We do have some questions here that I would like to address. I have a question if we have any of the Right Art marker refills. Now, unfortunately, we worked with that distributor and they no longer are making those. We did find Olo markers, and we actually love them because they are so juicy. Their technology has no foam in there, so it won't suck up any ink. What I do recommend is, as you need to transition into a different alcohol ink marker, be aware that you can mix any brand essentially with each other. So you could get some Olo markers and mix them with the Right Art markers or Copics. They just need to be alcohol based. And then I had a question. Can we please show our marker caddy again?
Yes, I'm going to do that right now. But this is my prototype, so I don't have the other one because we sold what we had here already, but Mr. Krazy has a bunch more. So it's kind of hard. So they don't come with this black little strip on them anymore. I'll try to kind of tip it for you so you can see, but there it is. So it's all acrylic now, which is really cool. And what I love about it is it has an X in it. So if I were to turn, whoops, let me get my hand here.
You can hold it up.
if I could turn it like that, then you could kind of see all of the X where you just slide them in and out. And this will hold, I forgot how many colors, we figured it out. I think it's 20, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it was 20 pens per slot, so that's 160 colors. So when it gets down and you want to go to the other side, because you don't see the side here, you just turn it and it's on this side. Now what's even better about all this is we have a box that's for travel. So you can also purchase our box. It's a folding box, and this whole thing will slide right in it with a cover, so when you're traveling your markers do not come out. And I just absolutely love this.
All right, we have 2 more questions before we move on to our second card. What paper can you use to color with these markers if you don't want it on the glitter paper?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, so wait for card number 3 because we're going to be doing that.
All right, so we will come back to that question for card number 3. I did get a question about Jackie. Jackie and her husband decided to move to southern Washington, where her husband's from, Eric, and so they are on a new venture. My name's Michelle. And although you can't see me right now, so you just have a voice, I am taking her place. I'm going to be stepping in. So I am the production, but you'll be seeing more of me.
Yes, Michelle and I traveled to all the expos last year. You might have met her. She was the cash registrar. And she is also my daughter. So I have 2 daughters. Okay, just so you know. All right, we're going to now do this cute gift card. And what I love about this, now I've used these gifts before in the Crafters box, but they are so versatile that I absolutely love them. Because what you can do, which we haven't done before, is we could stack our stickers one on top of the other, and look how cute that is. And we could use it as the side of a card, which I think is totally cool. So we're going to do that together, and we're going to make this card now. So you want to find the packet that has the birthday paper, and again we're going to have an envelope in here which we're not going to need to use, but we are going to need our pre-scored card because we're going to be trimming off a part of that to kind of give us the edge. So the white part that you see here is actually the pre-scored card. Okay, so we need our pre-scored card. We need, look how few papers we really need. We need the birthday paper, and then we're going to use this white cardstock for our words. Okay, so let's go to our instructions and see what our steps are. Okay, sorry, I'm just making room on this table. Here we go. So we're on this one, the bottom of the first cover page, and it's called the Stack Gifts card. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our pre-scored card. Oh, and then we're going to do some trimming. So let's go ahead though and fold the pre-scored card, and I'm going to get my bone folder. Now this was a gift that we had before in a previous Krafter box, and I thought it was really great. Now you only get gifts if you buy it during the pre-order time, just so you know. It's not like you just get a gift automatically.
And the gifts are awesome. That's why you should try to buy it at the pre-order time.
Yes.
They are always the coolest tools that we personally love.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to get our paper cutter. We're going to read the green part. It says trim the pre-scored card at 3 inches wide on the front flap. So what that means is if we were to open this, we want our crease of the card to be at 3 inches. Okay, so I'm lining it up. So this is at 3, and I'm literally going to just trim the front. So when I close that, I have this space here. Okay, so it opens now like that. All right. Okay. So now the next step is trim the orange birthday paper 3 inches wide by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to go 3 inches wide. And if you notice, the back of this is what we'll be using for the inside. So 5 1/4. So it may throw some people off a little bit, but actually when we put this on here, we will be marrying this side. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and make this 2 3/4 so we have that matting. So let's go ahead, put this back and do 2 3/4. I think that way we have matting on the other side. So we're going to actually marry this to this side, but then we'll have a little bit of matting over there. Okay, just like that. All right, so we got that paper, and then we need to trim the kaleidoscope paper right here, 1 inch by 5 1/4. And we'll do 5 1/4. And 1 inch. Okay. Make sure my 1 inch is straight. There we go. Okay. So, other than the words, which we'll be putting on here, I think that is all the cutting. So, let's go ahead and put our card together. So let's do this one first, the kaleidoscope. I'm going to get my tape on, and I'm just going to come in here. This is on the inside of the card, and I'm just kind of doing a little bit of the matting as I want it. There we go with that. And then let's go ahead and put this on there. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and do the amount of matting you want. You don't have to worry what kind of matting's on the right side because you're not going to see it. So I think I'll go like that. So I always like making the base of these cards first, because that way when I do the glitter part and I cut it out, it's a done deal. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead, and if you look at the card, we're going to put our border on. So it looks like we're going to do this side, and then the bottom and the top. So we're not going to do either of the inside or this inside. Okay, so let's go ahead. It looks like we're using the scallop. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit for you. There you go. And we're going to look at our borders. And where did I put my lovely tweezers, Michelle? Did I put those away? Must have. So I'm going to grab them again. And I'm going to peel a scallop. Now there's lots of scallops on here. Now it's up to you if you want to put the straight edge on the card or if you prefer to have the scallop out. I tend to put the straight edge only because that way my border tends to be a little bit straighter, but it doesn't matter which way you do it. Okay. And again, this is going to add a bit of sparkle, which I think is really cool.
And it's flat, which is awesome for mailing.
Can they hear you way over there?
I believe so.
Okay.
I can move closer, I suppose.
Yeah, you should bring your chair over here. Okay, so now I'm going to do this side. So remember, I like to do side, then top, bottom. It's just the way that I roll. Again, do it the way that's most comfortable for you. Okay, there's that. There we go with this. Okay. Now this piece isn't, oh, it might be big enough. Let's try it. So we're going to put one on the bottom here. Go. Oh, yeah, actually, I'm just not even going to cut it because we're not going to see that part. And then I'm going to put it on the top here. Well, actually, Go this way. I can't make up my mind today. Must be all the coffee I've been drinking. Okay. All right, so there's that, and then we need to do this. So I'm just going to give you a tip that if you take these off and you have extra, you can put them back on this protective sheet. It has a placeholder if you want, because you never know when you might need a small piece. So there's that. How are the comments going?
Good. They can hear me. Thank you guys.
All right. Woohoo.
We know now.
We'll have to get Michelle to be a part of making these cards with me.
I am a little camera shy, but I'm working up the courage.
Well, you're at least talking. Okay. So now that we have all of that, look how pretty that just really brought it out. Now, I noticed that we have some dots on the card here, but I think we ought to do our words first, and then we could put our dots around. So let's go ahead and look for the words. So we need to find our stickers. So let me find those. Where did I put all our stickers? Okay. So when we look through, we're going to be looking for the gifts. So here are the gifts right here. It's hard to see that. I'm going to ask Michelle to take this out of the paper for me. And then we also should have some words in here from our sentiment. So let's see if I can find that. Yes, right here. The amazing one. So we gave you quite a few of the sentiments, okay? So here's the amazing. Oh, and I think, where did I get the just because? Must have been on, where was that one? Oh, it's on here. Okay, so the just because is on the gifts, and then it's an amazing day is on this sentiment. So we're going to take our white paper, and we're going to peel these words, and then we're going to cut around them. So let's start with just because. I like sometimes having the words kind of in pieces. I think that's kind of interesting. But if you don't like that, you could cut one big piece and put it on the side. So there's just. Now here's the challenge, is getting this little tiny dot for the top of the J. So I find that if you put...
Have you tried to use the poker on it?
Yeah, I am going to get that poker out. So what I do is I try to peel back the negative to isolate it, and then I could pick it up. But poker, I will be using it for sure. Okay, so there's the word just. And then let's get the word because. Well,
another tip is you could just weed out the background and then you'll see the dots.
Yep.
More clear.
I agree. That's kind of what I did just on that part.
Correct.
All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut this strip, and it looks like it's at 3/4. And that way I could use the other side for a different word. Okay. So there's my just, and I might trim it even closer, and that's where you can use your scissors. So basically you're just going to trim right where the words are. So it might be not exactly 3/4. You could use your scissors too. So there's my word just. Do you see how that came out? All right. I'm going to put that to the side. So I have this piece here that now I could put a few more words. So let's go back to the word because. Now the reason I didn't just line it all up is because they're all different sizes. And I, don't want to cut where I can't. Now, Michelle brought up the fact that we have that weeder tool. So normally we could use our tweezer ends, but why do that when we have this beautiful glittery pen with the same little picker? And once you put that down, you could poke and get the inside of these E's out. Isn't that cool? Now we will be selling these pens. They're not on the website yet. So if you didn't get one, stay tuned. That's something else we have to learn how to do. But we're working on it. Okay, so now I'm going to trim. If you would find this easier to trim with scissors, that's perfectly fine. Okay, there's because. And then we're going to continue with It's an Amazing Day. Now, It's An I put together because it is small, but let's go ahead and see if we can fit Amazing on here. This looks like a paper that might just fit that pretty good. Okay, there's Amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and where's my white paper? Right here. And I'm going to put It's In and Day all seems to be the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and put It's In and then Day. Where is Day? Here's Day right here. And because that's so small, I went ahead and I put a heart, which was on the gift. Otherwise, I felt like the word was too small. Okay, so now we just need to poke and trim. So on the Amazing, the inside of my Z was still in there, so I got rid of that. And this one looks pretty good. Oh, what happened? I had that Z out. There we go. And now I'm going to trim this. And I'm just going to use my scissors to kind of go up here. And then I'm going to use my scissors again and again. And then for Amazing, I'm going to trim that. And then I'll use my scissors just at the end here. Okay, so now we should have all of our words. And we're going to go back to our card base. We're going to take our adhesive and put these on. So let's start with the word just. And put over toward the left so that we leave room for our gifts. Okay, so just, then because, and It's In, and then Amazing. See how fun it is and fast it is once you have it all kind of down. And then Day. And then we're going to grab our dots. So we could probably put those on now. And on the dots, we have two different sizes. So I like how these are grouped. So if you notice, there's a big with two smaller, a big and a small. So the big one is on the bottom of your dots. And then we'll put a small. And a small. And then on the bottom we'll do one big, one small. Okay. Doesn't want to come off. There we go. So now that we have all that, all we have left is our glitter image, and I think that's pretty exciting. So let's go ahead and go to our glitter image. Put that aside. We need our gifts, which is right here, and we need our glitter paper. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to stack the gifts. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over here and use this area. So we are going to trim them out, but we're going to trim them out once we stack as one piece, and it's going to be about 5 1/4 inches tall, which is the size of our paper. So let's start by trimming. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. So we're going to start with this one right here. And I'm going to leave lots of room so that I don't run out. Now if you notice, there's no bow on here. So what we're going to do before we put it down is we're actually going to cut that off. Now if we don't cut it off, it would overlap and we may not like how it looks. Okay? So that's one thing about our stickers, right, Michelle? You can alter them.
You sure can.
Okay, so I've taken that off, and now I just have this box right here, and I'm going to put it down below.
You have to think outside the box.
Yeah, think outside the box. That's right. Okay, so the next one is going to be this one right here, which kind of looks like a, oh, it's kind of going in almost like a triangle, but again, we're not using the bow. So take any stickers that came off on your scissors, kind of take them off, and then off your scissors, and then we're going to cut this bow off. Now if you want to save the bow or something, you can. I don't think it really looks like anything, so you might be more creative than me. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to stack this so that it's kind of right next to that. Just like that. Alright, now we're going to go to the one with the leaf.
Thank you for calling Krazy Creations. This is Michelle.
Okay. And my insight came.
Oh, well, hello.
There we go. And I need to take this inside. Now guess what? We're not taking the bow off of this one. So we're going to go ahead and stack this one.
Perfect. I'm ready for you.
Okay. Now, how many of you thought about ever doing this? I think it's fun because there are lots of stickers that we have that you might want to try this with. Like, maybe, let's see, I'm thinking we have some cups that you could stack, or I have to think about it, but I think it's a fun way. Alright, so now we're going to take this little box right here, and we're going to cut these bows off.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm cutting this bow off. Okay. So this is the only hard part about it, if anything, is you do have to cut a little bit. But guess what? You know what the upside is? When you go to cut this out, instead of 6 or 5 images, it's 1. And I think that's a bonus. Okay, so here's this box right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it under the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. Just like that, and I'm going to put this under the bow, and that's how that went. Now I have this little piece here, but let me see if you could see that. See right here? So I can go in later and trim when I trim this out and take that off. All right, so let's go ahead and get this one. And then we're going to go and put this right on top. And again, we want the bow. All right, and then we want this one right here. Now, when I trimmed it, I took off these like little things, and I think I might have taken that bottom zigzag out, but let's see what it looks like. I think I found it distracting, but I don't remember. Let's see. Yeah, I did. So I'm just going to take this bottom zigzag out because when I color, I didn't want it distracting me. So I'm just kind of taking that out. Okay, and then we're going to put that underneath here. Come on, there we go. Okay, and there we have our stacked presents. Wasn't that fun? I mean, it wasn't hard at all. So once you have this, the next step is what we always do. You want to burnish it down. And if you have any insides, we'll take those out too. Okay. All right, so let's see. Looks like I might have an inside here. Maybe not. Okay, and then maybe in here. There's that. And there's that. So there we go. Okay, so now it's about the coloring. So I will tell you that my strategy in coloring is I used a lot of light colors. So I'm going to just come out just a bit. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, I used a lot of light colors. So when you use the light colors, I just thought it looked a little nicer. So let's go ahead with the yellow and color all the yellows. This is Y2.3 and Y2.2. So the 2.3 tends to be just a little bit darker, but I also didn't necessarily with yellow do a lot of shading. I don't think it really shows up a lot, so that's why I don't. So I'm going every other with the yellow, just with the darker. And if you go outside the lines, it doesn't matter because you're cutting it out. So now I'm just going to use the Y2.2. Now, if any of you need to order Olos, we do have some that are individual. However, Olo has a back stock again, and we're not going to get a new shipment in until the end of February. So just letting you know, that's just how they roll. We have our order in. Okay, so I'm going to do this one with Y2.2. So be patient. And then I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to put a little bit of shading on the side. And then we'll put 2.2. Okay, there we go. Now, shall we do our pink next? Let's see here. How about we use that RV 1.3 and we use that R 5.1 like we did before. So the RV 1.3, I'm just going to put right down here. I told you I did not do a lot of shading on these, and if it kind of goes in here a little bit, that's okay with me because that'll be my shading. And then the 5.1, okay, and I think that's the only pink that I used. So let's go to our orange. So the orange, my favorite orange is 2.5 and 2.4. So that's OR 2.5, OR 2.4, or O 2.4. I love these two. So I think for this one I might have used the 2.5. Yeah. So there's that. But just to show you how pretty the 2.4 is, look, so that's the difference right there. Okay. All right. And then it looks like we could do the top. So let's go ahead, do a little bit of shading by using both our oranges. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to go back to that BG 0.4 and the other side is BG 2.3. So let's go ahead and do this one with the BG 2.3. Now if you want to do shading, you can. I just found in this particular image, it was just really good without. So I'm now using the BG 0.4. And then I think on the inside here, I'm just going to put this little light color. There we go. And then we're going to hop up here, do the same. Now, let's see here. So I'm doing every other one with my darker BG 0.4. And then I'm going to come in with my lighter BG 2.3. And come up here. I'm going to get the inside of the bow while I have that color. Then I'm going to put the dark part as my bow. Okay. And we just need to get our green, and we've got it. That wasn't too bad. It looked like a lot more work, didn't it? But it wasn't. So I'm going to use YG 2.5 and just put my green in there. Okay, so if at any time you wanted more yellow, you can now go back with your yellow and just add a little bit more. You know, you could always do that. I tend to do that a little bit with yellow. I like a really dark yellow. Okay, then when you cut this out, you're now going to literally trim here and around. And I did cut these little dot things off. So I went around, cut that off, and then you're going to just adhere it to the side. So you only want to put adhesive on the left side of your presents, and it's going to go right there on your card. So you're going to adhere it on the left side of the presents right here, and your card will be done. Isn't that a wonderful card? I think it's really cute birthday card. All right, so that was card number 2, and we're going to take just a 2-minute break, and then we're going to go to number 3. Okay, so let me see. It's break time, I think. Yep, 3 minutes. Well, welcome back. We are on card number 3, and I'm so excited about this card because it is a totally different technique than we have really done here on our Krazy Krafter boxes. So, without further ado, let's look at that card. Okay, so what I like about this particular card is the question came up before, what kind of paper do you use when you aren't using glitter paper? So today, this particular paper that we're going to use is called Yupo paper. Now that is YUPO. That is a paper that's particularly made for alcohol inks, but more for backgrounds and doing things with a liquid alcohol ink. But if you wanted to use a cardstock, you need to get an alcohol ink friendly blending cardstock. And there are 2 that we recommend. One is called X-Press-It. So just the letter X, Press it. And that is on the Amazon is where you can find that easily. The other one is what we use here called Nina Solar Crest White, and we use 80 pound. So the thing is, you can't use any white cardstock because it might bleed or dot, and it's not friendly for alcohol ink. So we will definitely give you more information about that, but today we're going to be using the Yupo paper.
I'm going to step in here real quick and show you this new product that we have. So this is our Olo swatch book. So you can make this exact thing. It comes as a kit with all the materials needed. But I really just wanted to show you that you go ahead and you fill in a cardstock or the Nina paper, the warm, and then we have cool. So this kind of shows you the difference in the warm and the cool glitter. If you've ever thought to yourself, well, what's really the difference? It does change the color slightly, but not by much. So this is a really cool way to track what pens you have. It comes with these spots, so you fill them in with the glitter paper, and then you can go ahead and pick and say, no, I'm using warm glitter paper. I think it will look better this way.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So that really did give you an idea of that Nina paper that we were just talking about on the cardstock. Okay, so to make this card, we're going to make our card first. This is a slimline, so what that means is it's 3.5 by 8.5 long, and it fits in a regular number 10 envelope. So we're going to look for 3 stickers. We're going to look for the rose, these flourishes, and we're going to look for our sentiment. Now this is a sympathy card that we put in there, so you have a sympathy sentiment. Also, you're looking for your pack that has the slimline envelope in it. So let's go ahead and look at that. So this is your slimline card. You can see it's 3.5 by 8.5 when you fold it over. Here's our envelope, which is a regular number 10, and we don't need to use that right now. Then you have some black cardstock. And this piece right here is your Yupo paper. Okay, now there's not a right or a wrong side, so you can use either side when we're using this paper. You also have a white cardstock. Okay, so let's get started with our normal, which is building our card. So we're going to fold our pre-score card. Let's go ahead and get that crease down. Okay. Now, I believe the next thing we're going to do is cut our black paper card thing in here. Well, let's read the instructions. Trim black cardstock 3.25 wide by 8.25. Okay, so we already know that this is 8.5, right? So we have to just cut off 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to go ahead and do the 3.25. Okay, so that's that paper. Then the next paper that we need cut is we're going to trim our Yupo paper. So we're just I don't know if we should trim it now or wait until we're done. I mean, the way that I did it, I did trim it, so let's just go ahead and do it that way. But if you're somebody who just wants a little bit of leeway, you could keep it this size, but then you'll have to trim it, okay? But we'll do it now. So we're going to do that 3 by 8. So 3 inches wide. And because it was, I believe, 8 1/4, we just want to take off 1/4. Okay, and you can check yourself by if we put it in here, yes, we have that matting, so that's perfect. Okay, so now that we've done that, we have to just cut the black and the white for the sentiment. So we're going to go ahead and trim our white 3 inches by 5/8 inches. So let's go with 3 inches. And 5/8 is one little bit over the half. Okay. And then we need our black, which will be 3 inches by 7/8. So let's do 3 inches and 7/8. Okay, and that should be everything. So we'll go ahead and get our paper trimmer out of the way and start putting our card together. Now we are not going to put our Yupo paper onto the black until the very end. So we are going to put our black onto the slimline card. So let's go ahead. This on there. We are going to leave that matting all the way around. Okay. One thing I like about my Tombow is if I want to just make a little bit of correction, I could lift it up. There. Okay. So now that I've done that, what we're going to do next is we're going to put our white onto the black in the center, but the edges each match. Now, if you're like me and you have a little bit of black here, because I didn't quite cut them evenly, you could trim that off, or when you put it on here, you're not really going to see it. So it's up to you. I think I'll make mine even, just for the sake of being even. Okay. Now, we are going to put our slimline card aside. So this part is going aside. We're going to be working with the Yupo paper. This piece here is going to go somewhat in the center. Now, you can eyeball it or you can measure it. I'm an eyeballer. So I'm going to go ahead, put this in the center where I think the center is. It doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things. Okay, and again, I have this little bit, so I'm just going to firm up my edge because it'll bother me otherwise. So my little sentiment piece was a little bit smaller. Okay, now it's perfecto. And then we're going to go ahead and put our sentiment on there. So let's put the word sympathy first. So our sentiment is going to be with deepest sympathy. So we're going to put the sympathy word first. I absolutely love these tweezers.
I thought you were going to say those colors because, fun fact, yellow is Kara's favorite color.
Oh, I do love that. That's true. Okay, deepest. Let me move that up a little bit. And then the word width. Okay.
So I often get asked with these words how to make them straight.
Yeah, that's a challenge. So we are coming up with a tool. But for now, you can make a pencil line, or you could use our crafting tool, which was around here somewhere, but sometimes it's hard to use that. For a straight line, like you can go like this when they're all the same on the end, but it's harder if they're not.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so now that we have that, we need to pick out the inside of our Y. So I'm going to use this fun weeding tool. And it looks like we have a little bit of a P. So what am I doing? Am I poking it or just swishing it? I'm doing both. I'm doing the poke and the just kind of swishing it to the side. Okay. Now, this is the part that we have to do. We are going to put the stickers that we're coloring directly on this Yupo paper. Okay? One thing though that I found is once they're down, they're kind of down. So we're going to take our time and put them down. So we're going to start with these roses. So let's go ahead, get the large rose. Here is a large rose. And I'm just going to kind of place it where I think I want it. So I think maybe right around here. Okay. Then I'm going to get the small rose. I don't want this inside to come over, so I'm trying to take that out. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of marry it where I want it to go, kind of like on the inside maybe right there. And I'm going to have to come in and get this part out. See if I can do it with my tweezers. Just to kind of, there we go. Okay. All right, so now that I got that, let's go ahead and do the top part with those roses. So same thing, but opposite. So we're going to come up, kind of put this one more, maybe like that. There's really no right or wrong. Then we're going to put this one. Let's see. Maybe I'll kind of do it. Oh no, I want my swirl up there. Okay, so I'm going to try to pick this up and see what happens. All right, it let me, so I'm going to have to move it over a little bit. And then we'll kind of I think I'll just go like that. Okay. Now, get the inside out again. For some reason on these smaller roses, that inside likes to come over. I don't know why. Okay, now we have our leaves. These leaves are hooked together, so we are going to separate them, and we are going to do that by using the scissors. So I'm going to cut that stem off. Maybe I want one right here. That. And then I'll put one down here. Now I'm cutting these stems off. Maybe one kind of like this. We'll go back. I just love how you can alter things with our stickers. They don't have to be the way that they look all the time. Now if I want this one to go off, I could trim it. So off of the side of the paper, I can certainly trim it. So I'll do that. I'll put this one maybe right here. And we have one more set. You know what's nice about this card, guys? You don't have to cut anything, any of the images out. I think that might be a plus for some people.
Yeah, no fussy cutting on this one.
Here's that.
Though some people love to fussy cut, I am not one of them.
I like it.
That's why I give you my stuff to fussy cut.
I know. Okay. So now that we have our leaves on, we can go ahead and add swirls. So the swirls here are on this particular sticker sheet, and there are some that are small, and then there are larger ones. So let's go ahead and lift one of these small ones up. And maybe like we want a small one right here. I think the swirls kind of add something to it. What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah. I like that these are solid as well.
Yeah.
With the black vinyl, makes them pop more.
It does. Okay, so now this one, but it looks kind of like a lot. So what are we going to do, everybody? What have we learned that we could do?
Alter our stickers.
That's right. So let's see. Where do I want to alter this?
I answered for you guys. I hope you got that right.
I think I'm going to cut this right here. Again, no right or wrong. I'm going to cut this right here. And I think I'm going to maybe have this one. I'm going to cut this little part off right here. And a little bit more of that. Okay, let's see how this is going to look. It's a little bit smaller than my design, but I think it's cute. Okay, there. That turned out. And then this one we could trim. Okay. So I'm going to let you guys figure out the top part. But here's how I did the bottom with the swirls and everything. So I'll let you figure out your swirls up there, but I wanted to do at least one part of it to show you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over. Let's trim, and or if you find it easier, you can fold back. So trim or fold back, because you're not going to see the back, okay? So now that we have, oh, I have a dot here. Now that we have this, you all should know what our next step is going to be, which is taking a brayer. And we don't have to do it as much because it's pretty tight, but we definitely don't want it to bleed onto the white Yupo paper. So we're going to do that, and then kind of do this. All right, let's start with the leaves first. So, to color on the Yupo, we're going to pick our color. So the color I'm going to choose today is, I'm going to do my green a little bit differently. I'm going to use BG 7.3, BG 7.6. Okay. So the 7.6 is the darker color. Now I find when you color on here, I tend to use a dot method, because what you'll notice is this paper doesn't color like a traditional blending cardstock. So if you dot, 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 then come in with your lighter color, it's going to give a stained glass look, but with more dots. Kind of, they call that pointillism. That's the artistic form. So just dot, dot, dot. And there it is. It almost has some watermark looks. But you can't go wrong with the Yupo paper. Okay, let it dry for a few minutes. Go to your next one. You could always add later. So I'm putting my dark basically down the middle of the leaf. And I'll do this one too. Let me kind of go in a little bit just so you could see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to take my lighter color, start bringing it out. If you try to color on here, what you're going to see is not a smooth color, which is okay. That's why I'm doing the dots.
Would you use this technique every time you color on this certain kind of paper?
Yeah, it's going to have this effect. It's not a smooth blending cardstock like that Express It or Nina that we talked about.
Just wanted to make clear that with different papers there are different techniques.
Right. Okay, and there we are. Now if I wanted to add a little bit more dark, I can go back on top here, but see how that's just gives like water drops. Think of this is what Yupo paper, people usually make background papers with their alcohol ink. But we're using our stickers and coloring. I think that's pretty, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to match my markers to the right cap. And then I'm going to go in for my yellows. All right, so I did use the Y 2.3, but I also used the YO 2.3, and I also used kind of a darker yellow. Trying to remember which one I thought. So it kind of had an orangey tone to it. But you know what? What do you think, Michelle? What should we use? I think it's this maybe 2.5. Sorry about my arm, guys. Nope, that's not right. But let's see what this color is. So I'm just going to put a little bit down. No, it's too brown. I need an orange. How about this?
Why don't you do really orange for this example?
Yes.
You could show that.
I'm going to go back to that O2.4 that we talked about before. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of orange in here. This is kind of a nice light orange. And I'm just going to put some shadows by, again, I am dotting everything. Dot, dot, dot. So just kind of take your time.
Now, where are you dotting the most? It looks like you're dotting where the sticker is. You're following the pattern a bit.
Yeah, do you see how a shadow might naturally be where something overlays over something else?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I'm doing. But it doesn't really matter. Now, this is that YO 2.3. It's the YO, yellow orange. So it's kind of light. So I'm just kind of using it to blend. And you can layer. So if you don't like how your rose is coming out, you can layer. But I'm just going to put a little bit of this in here. And now I'm going to go to my yellow. Y 2.3. And I might come back and add a little bit more of that orange, because this is a little too yellow for me. So when you're doing this, think about Yupo. You usually make background paper, so you mix lots of colors with other colors, but it has to be alcohol ink.
I think that's a really good point you made too, that you can go back and add darker, but you can't take it away.
Right. Okay. And if I were to add my other side of the marker, look how that just absorbs the darker yellow, and now I have this very light yellow in here. So I'm using Y 2.2. So I think it's fun because you really can't make it wrong. It's kind of pretty. So let's add a little bit more orange back. What do you think? So you want to just keep doing this until you have the color mix that you like.
Yeah, I definitely think you have to go back for some more pop. That's looking good.
And then we'll just put a little bit of that darker yellow, and I think we got it. But it definitely looks like a watercolor. Now you will want to let this dry, so you don't want to pick it up right away. I mean, we're talking about just a minute or so, but if you pick it up right when you do this, it's still wet. But look how pretty that came out. Isn't that nice?
Gorgeous.
So let's do this rose, and then your homework will be to finish the top side. So I'm going to come in. I started with this darker, the orange, which is O 2.4.
Now, if someone wanted to do green leaves, what greens would you suggest?
Yeah, I like that YG 8.7 and YG 2.5. I tend to go for the olive color. But I wanted to be a little different on this card, so I went with these blue greens.
I definitely like the blue-green. It's different, especially with the yellow.
Okay. How is everyone doing out there? Give me some feedback. Do you like this technique? Please let me know. Because I kind of threw it in there as something fun and different for us to explore. And I think it's a perfect sympathy card, don't you, Michelle? Because, you know, flowers tend to be that sympathy.
It's not too much. Very pretty.
So I'm going back, re-adding my orange to kind of put some on the top. And then I'm putting that Y 2.3 and I'm going to call it. Okay, there we go. Let's see, isn't that pretty? Look at that. So now that we have this, all the last part will be to tape the back, and we're going to put it on our card right here, and then we can go in and add these little dots, our little things, wherever you want on the swirls. Isn't that a cool card? So I think that was a really fun card. So, all right, so that is number 3 that we've done, and I think that one is just one to keep in your back pocket. Now, where do you find that Yupo paper? Well, this place called The Paper Cut. They sell the Yupo paper, and that's where I got it from. They're out of Wisconsin, but they do have an online web store. So again, thepapercut.com. That's where I went, and they have excellent products, and you might see them often at the expo, the rubber or the Brass and Bliss. They sell their product. Okay, so now we're going to move on and put this card to the side. Okay, so the next one that we're going to work on is our beer cart. So how many of you are like me where you have everything all over your table? That's what I'm doing. So anyway, here we go. I found it. So let's see. We have this one. Now this is going to be a notation for you again. We, in our haste to get it out, I had Mr. Krazy helping me, and I totally overlooked when he cut the cheers word. We needed to glitter that. So the little vial of glitter did not come in your packet. It's going to look like this, and this is something we're sending out this afternoon or Monday morning. So we will get this to you along with that sentiment, and I just want to let you know this is coming along. So we're not going to be able to completely do the cheers word unless you have Krazy Creations microfine glitter. If you do, you could do it with me. Otherwise, I'm going to show you what to do, and your vial will be in the mail no later than Monday. Okay, so now what we're going to do is look for our packet. You want the packet with the beer. And then we're going to look for the beer sticker, and that's pretty much all we need other than our dots. So we just need the beer sticker. And let's go ahead and get that out just so that we have that part done. Okay, very good. And now let's take everything out here. Now these words right here are new in our inventory. We do have them on the web. They are called glitter words. They come with a mat, and then they come with the actual cut of the word and the score tape on it. So I'm going to show you how that works. We also have this envelope, which we'll put to the side. We have our papers. So we're going to go ahead and fold our pre-scored card. Okay. Then we're going to have our turquoise paper and our beer paper, and the other side has the plaid part. Okay, so we're going to need to cut these papers to size so we can go ahead and make the base of our card before we decorate. So let me get my paper trimmer. Go. And let's look at what we're going to do. Do you want to call out the cuts? Trim.
You have the paper in front of you, silly.
I was going to give it to you. Okay, so trim the turquoise cardstock 4 by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and get the 4. And let's do the 5 1/4. Okay. So there we go with that. So now we have this paper. Then we are going to trim the beer pattern paper 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and do 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. And then we are going to trim the brown plaid paper 4 inches wide times 1 inch. So let's go ahead and do the 1 inch. 4 inches here. Oh. Yeah. And the other one is 3 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So we'll go ahead and do our 1/2 inch. And then 3 3/4. And I believe that is all the cutting. So let me just double check and make sure so I get all my supplies in order here. That's all the green that I see. So let's go with that and see how we go. Okay, so to make the card, we are going to go ahead and use the pre-score card. So it says to trim the turquoise card, adhere to the center of the card. So it's going to pretty much go in like that. So let's get our adhesive. I keep doing that the wrong way. I try. Okay. So we're going to put this in the center. Okay. Then it says to trim the beer card, adhere it on an angle. So we're going to take the beer and we're going to somewhat put it at an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of match the bottom corner here and the top corner there. And then it kind of goes like that, just to kind of put that at an angle. Now if you want more of an angle, you can certainly trim it down a little bit. Up to you. Okay, so mine's going to go over, well, maybe I'll push it back. That's part of the problem, is I'm a perfectionist. Are there any new comments, Michelle?
I got that your project is beautiful.
Okay, there's that. Oh, that's nice.
That is a lovely comment.
Okay, then we are going to put this one across this way, and this piece is going to go on the bottom of this paper just like that. All right, this is a good mail card, you know, for somebody. A lot of people say to us that they don't know how to make a masculine card. I think this could be what I consider a masculine card.
Or for me, I love beer.
Do you?
Yeah.
I should know that about you.
Yeah, since you buy it for me.
When we're out on the road, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go, I'd say that's about 3/4 to an inch down. And I'm going to put that across. All right, now to add the pop, where are we going next? To our border stickers. So I'm going to get my little tweezers, and it looks like we're using the solid. So in between some of these is a solid line. And we're going to put that at the top here. And then we can put one across here, across the top of the plaid paper. I think that, again, these border stickers just add that pop, and it kind of makes the paper stand out. So that's why we're doing that. Then I'm going to look for the next one, which is also the straight line.
It's cool that you get 2 different borders in one sticker.
3.
Oh,
there's a
3.
diamond too, yeah. So there's a diamond scallop and a straight line. I like that.
Many options.
Yeah, and then we're just going to go ahead and put this on the bottom and top of this plaid paper. So I'm doing the bottom first. And then I'm going to do the top. So I have to go looking for one more. All right. Okay. There we go with that. Okay, and then I'm going to save this piece. So again, I'm going to put it back on here, so I might want to use it later. And then the next step is going to be to put our dots on. So let's find some dots. And it looks like we're going to put a big dot, a larger dot. with the small. Now, do you have to put the dots on? Absolutely not, but for me, I think it makes a cute little decoration. And I might wait until I put the cheers on to put those 2 dots, or 3 dots, I should say. So shall we do our cheers next? So we're going to go ahead, put the card aside, and work with our word that's going to be our glitter word, cheers. So you don't have the glitter like I just mentioned, but I went ahead and poured my little jar of glitter into a plate. And what we're going to do is take this word with the tape on it. We're going to take our brayer or something to kind of just make sure, that the tape is down on there. Then we're going to take our tweezers or weeding tool. Now, one thing is, don't try to do this because you might take the layers of the chipboard off. So I'm going to poke and pull, and I am releasing the protective layer, and I'm going to take all that off. And then I'm going to put the sticky side down into the glitter. Now, Michelle, do you remember what words we have of these?
We have cheers, which you're working with now, congrats, happy, hello, and I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, blessed.
Yep, so quite a bit. Okay, so once that glitter gets on the stickiness, you just want to make sure it's on there. So I'm just going to kind of go like this. Then we are going to tap that off, and we're going to burnish it again. Now, when you buy these, just to let you know, and this is how I made my mistake, they come in a package of 3. So one is missing from the package right here, but they do come in a package of 3 pre-glittered. So that's where I kind of messed up and overlooked the glitter part, because I wanted to do it with you guys. So when you purchase them, they are already pre-glittered. Okay, I just want you to know that. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead, brayer this down a little bit, and then I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I'm going to color on here. Okay, so the thing is, to get this kind of gradient look, you want to find a dark, maybe a medium, and then a light. So let's go to my that combo that I've been kind of using, which is that BG04 right here, and this one BG 2.3. So I'm going to use that as my middle and my light. So now I need to find something a little darker, and I really like the blue. So this one is kind of dark. It may not be dark enough, so let me just see what other option I have. That's why I like my little caddy. If you guys don't have this caddy, you're missing out. Let's see. I'm not sure if this one is a little darker. So how do we tell, Michelle? We go to our swatch book.
With our Olo swatch book.
So we're going to look at B0.5 and B2.6. So 0.5 is this. 2.6 is a little darker. I think I like that 2.6. So I'm going to go with 2.6, and then I'm going to use...
And do you know which glitter paper we have?
I don't know what glitter I pulled right there. And then BG04 and BG 2.3. Okay?
This is cool glitter.
Cool. All right. So we're going with this look right here. This is the Nina paper, by the way. Okay. All right. So we said 2.6, right? So we're going to start with our darkest color, and we're just going to do a third on the bottom. So we're just going to come up about a third. You don't want too much dark, or it'll all be dark unless you want it all dark. And I'm just kind of coloring the bottom. Okay. Then I'm going to come into this BG 0.4 and I'm going to start where that ends. My 0.4 is getting kind of dry because I use it all the time. And yes, we have replacements, so I'm going to have to grab one of those. But do you see how I'm just going at the end there? And this is such a cool product. Okay. And then I'm going to come in and finish with the lighter color. Now because my one marker is getting dry, I might grab another color to kind of just put in that middle category, but let me just see how this looks. Okay. Cool. I really like that. Isn't that pretty? Let's see, I might put in, right here, this 2.2. Let's just kind of add a little bit of that in this middle color, just because mine was drying up a little bit. I think that's just adding a little bit, just to blend that. There. And then I will finish it out. Just a little bit more of this. This is my light color. I think that's really pretty. And then it'll dry a little bit lighter. But look how pretty that is. Then what you're going to do is, any guesses, anybody? Turn it over. Put your adhesive. And you should let it dry for a few minutes. Then it's just going to go on this black matting. Then you turn this over. And it's going to go on your card. Just like that. Okay. Isn't that pretty? So now we just have to put our dots here, and then we're going to do our glitter. So small, small, small dot. 3 small dots. So you can't really see, but there's one there. There's 2 up here. Okay, so now let's go ahead, grab our beer sticker and our glitter paper, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So here's our glitter paper. And we're going to go ahead, get our beer barrel. I think I put that a little too far up. Maybe not. It's still on there. Okay. The beer barrel and the 2 beers. Okay. What is the next step, everybody? You should know. We are going to brayer.
Such a cute mini roller.
It really is. Okay, now to pick the colors here, basically the brown. So you could go to your swatch book and you can look. So let's look at our swatch book. And we're going to go to the browns, which are the ORs. And my new favorite really is that I like this 4.8 for the dark. I like the I think it's 4.7. I like 7.3 and 4.6. Let's see, or 4.3. This kind of gold is pretty, and then the 4.6. So we're going to use these. But that's why the swatch book is so great. It tells you. Another thing you may not know is that this color, because we don't have a gray, actually is a color that you wouldn't suspect it being. Again, I have to go to my swatch book. I'm telling you, I can't live. It's like a B color. It's a BG. BG 7.6. So it is this one right here, which is this color right here and what we see there. So it's amazing. Or BG 7.3. So if you want it lighter. But that to me is a gray. So I really like having this book to see that. So we're going to use that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start coloring. I think I did I do the burnishing? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go in with our dark color. I'm going to use this 4.8. And just, well, that's kind of dark. Let's see what 4.7. 4.7. Just a little bit. It's like a red barrel. Then we're going to come in with 4.6. So I am going to use 3 colors. And why am I using 3 colors? Because this is such a large area to color that it almost needs to have the 3 colors. So again, I'm using OR 4.7 only because it's such a large area. And then I'm going to come in with this 4.6. And then I'm going to do the middle with the 4.3. Now, when you first started learning how to color with the Copics, I did like this thing called you would go in a round motion. Sometimes when I have large areas, I tend to do that again. Only because I find it blends a little nicer. Okay, then I want to come in here. You have to be a little bit careful around this spigot. And I'm going to let it dry for a few minutes and then I'll go and do my touch-ups. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of do a lighter tone in here. The 4.6. Come in. Okay, so this is now where I can come back in, and I think I'm going to go with the 4.6 and just kind of add a little bit of dark here from that. So this was my medium color. And then it just kind of will blend a little nicer. Really looks like a barrel. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get our other color in here, which is that 7.3. And okay, and then on the top here we can go in and do run. There we go, and there we have it. We have our barrel. Now let that dry, and then if you want to go back and touch it up you can, but to me I love the vintage look of the barrel. I'm really happy with mine. But you have to do what makes you happy. So I'm going to put my caps back on. Okay. Then we're going to just kind of color our beer here real fast. So we're just going to do the yellow, wide 2.3, my go-to color. Oops, it has a little orange from our previous, so I'm going to kind of get that off. Tap, tap, tap. Still that orange. You really have to make sure you take that stuff off, darker color. Okay. And then we're going to put the foam. Now with the foam, I'm just going to use this 2.2, B2.2, and I'm just going to put a little bit in here, and then I'm going to use my colorless blender to blend that in. So I'm just blending the ends of that into the glitter paper. And if you want to add just a little bit while your pen has some of that, you can also do the kiss method, where you take the 2.2, just put a little on your blender, just to make it a little lighter. And there we go. And then you're just going to trim those out. And once you trim them out, they are going to go on your card, just like this. You're going to trim them, put them on your card, and there you go. You have your fourth card.
Correct. So we've done the bathrobe, the stacked gifts, the yellow roses, and now the cheers.
And I'm going to just do the Hey Cupcake real fast, and then we'll take a break.
If you have any questions on those first 4 cards, please let me know and we can answer those.
Okay, I'm really excited for this card because this is using our color glitter paper, which is really fun, and I think that is going to be just interesting for people to see how you can add with that. So let's go ahead and find our sticker. Okay, so we're looking for the Hey Cupcake, which is this one right here. We're going to be using our border and our dots, and this is our packet right here. Okay, So I just love this card. Let's take a closer look at it. Look how pretty this card is. I just think it's gorgeous. So let's get all of our papers out. And we have a pre-scored card. Now this is the case where the black will go on the pre-scored card, so we could put this to the side. We are going to need black cardstock, which is in there. We don't need our envelope, so we'll put that to the side. And then we're going to need our white cardstock. And then we have these 3 papers right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our trimmer and get started. Now, one of the things is that when we do trim this right here, we'll go ahead and trim that, but we're not going to put this one on until after we lay our strips down. That way it's easier to trim off any excess paper. So I don't know if that's how I wrote it in the directions, but that's how we're gonna rock and roll today. Okay, so we want the black cardstock to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So we don't have to cut any of that right now. So we're going to put that to the side, as I was just saying. All right, now we're going to trim our white cardstock 5 1/4 by 4. So it's already 5 1/4. Mine is already 5 1/4 by 4. If yours is not, go ahead and trim that, okay? Then we're going to trim strips of the glitter paper and pattern papers. So we want the lavender glitter paper, which is this strip right here. We want it to be 6 inches by 1/4 and 3/4 by 3. So it's kind of hard to say that that's, this is 8.5. So basically you want it to be long enough where this piece is going to come down like that. So if we were to use our ruler, which is on my crafting tool, that's where we get the 6 inches. So that 6 inches is pretty important. The other pieces are going to be over here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take a full piece and just kind of trim it at 1/4 inch. So I believe it said 6 by 1/4. So I'm going to trim the whole thing 1/4. Now this is 1 inch, so it really doesn't matter because the other side is going to be 3/4. But I'm not going to, what I'm trying to tell you guys is I'm not going to worry about that. So this is the 1/4 right here. Now it is a little skinnier, and if you would prefer to have a half, then I suggest you trim this kind of at 6 inches or so. Well, and then you can put these pieces if you want it to be a 1/2 inch. So you could do it any way you want. I'm going to have different sizes because I like to be different. So if I want a 1/2 inch, I could do that too. Okay, so I have these different strips. What we're going to be doing is making strips. It doesn't matter if you're exactly like me. Okay, now we have this paper right here. Again, we can go ahead and let's do a 1/2 inch. Now my stripes are going to be different than this. So if I do that, looks like that would work. And then we can make strips. I think they want them 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. So we could just make different strips. So I cut one at a 1/2 inch, one at 3/4, and I'm going to cut one at 1/4. And then we're going to take this XO paper, but we kind of need to follow how the XO paper is going. So we're just going to go ahead and cut it in between the XOs. I'm just going to do a few strips. This way you have variety in how you want it. I don't know if this side is a little bigger, but I don't think so. Maybe. Okay. Alright, so I have a couple strips of everything that I want. And I'm going to now put my trimmer aside, and we are going to start by making the white part. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to decide, do we want this 1/4 inch strip, or do you want a different strip that you did? And basically, once you decide, we're going to put it down just like this. I think I'm going to do the bigger strip this time. Let's try it. So we're going to come in, put adhesive on the back. We're going to come at about, I'd say, 1/4 inch from the bottom here. And however our angle falls out, I'd say that's about 1 1/4 inches to the other side, and we're just going to put that down. Then let's go ahead and look at putting a stripe paper down. This is another term for this is called paper piecing. Okay, so now we're doing that. Now I think it's time for us to kind of take a different tack and kind of, let's go like this. So any design you come up with is going to look fabulous. Okay, then we could take this lined paper and go this way. And I'm just going to trim off a piece here. Go like that. Then let's get that XO. Let's get some XO action in here. And let's put a piece over here. Now you do want to kind of make sure that you have these pieces snug together. Okay, then we can take this if we want, or we could take the smaller. I think we'll do that. This is so easy but fun. And what a way to use your leftovers. Okay. So I think I'm going to put, I don't want to put that, do I? Guess I do. Oh no, I want to, we want more glitter in there, Michelle. Put glitter. Okay, and then we need a little piece here. Okay, so your piece should look something like this. Maybe yours are a little different. And then all you have to do is turn it around and we're going to trim off the excess. And look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay. Make sure that your pieces are down. I have one piece that I see is coming up, so I'm going to add a little bit more tape. There we go. Oops, didn't get on there. Okay, there we go. All right, now to make this look even a little bit better, we're going to pull in our scallop border. Here's one. And we're just going to put it right down that glitter slide. As you can see, this is why not putting the white paper down right away. It's much easier to do it later so you could trim off all that excess. Okay. All right, so now that we've done that, it is now time to put it onto the black cardstock. So we're going to go ahead, put that on here. And if you wanted to add more of this border, you could put it in there. That's totally up to you. And now I'm going to look for our cupcake sticker. So let's go back out. I don't know why I keep doing that, the opposite. Okay. So on your cupcake sticker, it says, "Hey, cupcake." So let's go ahead and get the cupcake part down first because it's wider. Okay. And then we'll put our exclamation. And we'll put the word "hey." I love how dark and vibrant this cinnamon is. Okay, "Hey, cupcake." And then we could add our dots. So we're going to put 2 dots down here. And we'll put this dot later. And maybe we'll just go ahead and put these dots. Okay, so now all that's left is for us to do our little glitter part of the cupcake. Let's get our glitter paper. And here's a tip about this one. So when you peel this sticker and you take it off, all of this part down here, all of this does not need to be on the glitter paper. So you want to find an area that you can hang that part off because you don't want to have to trim it. So this part here, along with all of this doily part, is off the glitter paper. Okay, and then we're going to look for 2 more cupcakes. And I believe there's a strawberry too that you can add. And again, if you want, you could put the little stem of the strawberry off. Okay, so that's everything we need. So let's color. So this time we're using purple to kind of complement our purple here. So,
whoa, you guys, what did Kara miss?
yeah, I didn't do it yet.
No.
But you're right. Burnish. We need to burnish.
You'll get the best results if you really get that sticker onto the glitter paper.
Okay, so I'm going to use BV 1.1 and I'm going to look for BV 1.4. So I'm going to use these two, 1.1, 1.4, and that's going to be my bottom. My top is going to be that R 5.1, that really light pink, and then our red is going to be R 1.5. Let's see, where'd that go? Is this it? R 1.5. And then we need a brown, which we'll use the go-to colors of the day, 4.6 and 4.3. Okay, so let's go ahead and start coloring. I'm going to start with our BB, and we're going to go in, and I'm going to put my dark color kind of next to the cupcake. So I'm just going to do a few on here just to kind of get that going. Then I'm going to come to BV 1.1 and kind of finish off with paper liners. You know, I never used to like purple, but I like it so much more now. I don't know why. Something about purple. But look how pretty that is. So today we are not going as dark as normal. So that's very nice lavendery, and we might as well do the paper liners up here as well. Okay, so we got all of that part done. That was easy, fast, and I love that. So I'm going to match my caps back to the correct pen. And we're going to come in and do our frosting. And we're going to do that 5.1. So it's this one right here. Now, I didn't do a lot of shading on the frosting, but I'll show you what you can do. The other side of this marker is 5.3, so if you wanted to add a little bit of the shading, you can put in a little bit of that 5.3. And then go back with your 5.1 to blend. But you want to try to keep it light. Okay. This is a super fast coloring job. That's what I like about it. So my cherry, 1.5, right here. And I kept my strawberries similar. Oops, that one I kind of dotted outside the line, but that's okay because you're going to cut that out. Okay, and then all we have left is our brown. So our tray is going to be this 4.3. And I'm going with the light first because I want it mostly light. But then I'm going to come in with the 4.6, just add just a little bit. I don't want a lot of it. And then bring that in.
A question about the purple glitter paper. Did you need to burnish that?
No, I didn't, but you could. That's a good question. You should always burnish just to get rid of any excess glitter. But I did not do that, and I should have. Okay, and I just put the little chocolate sprinkles there. And look at that, Michelle. Was that not fast coloring?
Mm-hmm.
And then again, all we have to do now is trim our images out. And then we're going to use our adhesive to put them onto our card. And look how pretty this card is. Isn't that gorgeous?
Do you have any tips for the strawberry stems and the cherry stems of how to cut around? You said you can hang them off the paper.
Yes, but if they're like right here in the middle, what you can do is, as you're going to cut that, take your tweezers, lift this up, and cut underneath it, and then let that lay back down. You could also trim this completely off and then reattach it because it's a sticker. Good tip. All right, so here's our Hey Cupcake. We are going to take just a 3-minute break, and we'll be on our last two, which happen to be fancy bowl cards. So see you soon. Oh, darn. cute that is.
We were muted, so I'm so sorry. We are moving on to our next card.
Yes, that's right. So if you missed everything I just said, I was letting you know, having so much fun, and I hope you are too, and that the next two cards are what we call fun fold cards. So having a scoreboard handy will be helpful. You will need a pencil, because I find that helpful for me, to do some of this card, and or the next one, I should say. And let's just get started. So here's what this card looks like. Isn't it cute? It's called the birthday dog, and look how fun that is. So when you open it, you get such a fun little scene, and then on top of that, it will also stand up. That's what's fun about a fun fold card, is the recipient can stand it up. So you would kind of write your message right here, and that's how that works. So to make this card, we are going to need the packet that has the blue kind of tie-dye paper. It has an envelope, which we'll put to the side. It has this green paper, the tie-dye, the blue, and a white. And then we're also going to need a couple of the stickers, which is the happy birthday circle and the birthday dog. Okay, so we'll put our stickers aside for right now, and let's make the guts of the card. So, as I said, first we're going to trim our paper, and the first trim is going to be taking this blue cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5. So I've now grabbed my larger paper trimmer, just so I can measure the bigger cuts, and I'm going to see if I do it right this time. Nope, wrong. I can never quite get that. There we go. All right, my papers. Okay, so now that you can kind of see what I'm doing, we need this blue paper to be 8.5 by 5.5, and I think it already is. So let's double check. 5.5 by 8.5. We are good. No cutting to this paper. Yay. Okay, so now we're going to want to trim the white cardstock 4 inches by 5.5 2 times. So it does say, 5.25. So 4 by 5.25 2 times. So it's at 5.5. So let's do 5.25. Well, I'm going back to my other trimmer, Michelle, because this one does not work well.
Needs a new blade.
It needs a new blade, yep. So I'm going to go back to the 5.25. Yeah, look what it did to my paper.
Yikes.
Okay, by 4, right? Is that what I said? By 4. 4, yes. Yeah. Boy, that blade is really bad on that other one. Okay. So we have 2 whites, 5.25 by 4. Get rid of this little piece here. Actually, I think we're going to keep this piece, so don't throw it away. We will need it. Okay. Then, let's trim. Well, do we want to? Yeah, let's trim the tie-dye paper, because we're going to do the same step as we're going to do for the white paper. So I'm kind of looking. I'm so sorry, because it's kind of hard when I'm the reader now and not the reader. So adhere one of the white cardstocks to the inside card. Okay, let's follow the instructions for once. Shall we do it that way? Jackie used to always have me cut everything, but I think it's easier on the fancy fold to do it in order. So now that we have our blue cardstock 5.5 by 8.5, we are going to score. Now this is a scoring board. What it does is it'll make creases where we want our fold. So the first fold that we want is 2 1/8. So here's 2, here's 1/8. So we are going to score at 2 1/8, and then we are going to score at 4 1/4. Now, if you don't have a scoring board, you can use a ruler, you can use your paper trimmer to kind of have the groove, whatever works for you. Okay, so now we're going to fold this in half. And then this is going to come back like this. So when you do this, it should kind of look like this little Z. Okay, so now that we got that down, it's trim the white cardstock, which we did. And then one of these is going to go right here in the center. Now I'm going to put my kind of gnarly side on the bottom because that'll be covered with the green paper. Okay. So this one's going to go right here on the inside. Just like that. Now this is where you're going to want your pencil, because we are going to trim an angle, and what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the bottom to 2 inches, and then we're going to cut all the way over to where that is. Okay. So let's use our ruler. Let's get 2 inches and mark it. Then we are going to put that in our paper trimmer. And we are going to go to the center fold from that mark. And we're going to save this part. Okay, so now we have this at an angle. Do you see how that worked? Just like that. But now we need to get the white papers in the card to be at that same angle. And so how I found the best way to do that, to make sure you have the same angle, is to take your paper, and it is going to be a little bit not as wide, which is okay. But to get a similar angle, it just helps if you kind of trace this angle. And that's how you'll cut it. So I've tried it different ways, but I found that by doing it this way, it fit the best. So you could do it any way you want, but this is it. And then I'm going to cut on that traced line. Okay. So now when I do that, we need to make the areas in here. So as you can see, that just works out pretty good. Now I am going to cut a little tiny bit off the bottom, and then I'm going to cut the panels. So let's just cut a little tiny bit. This is all through trial and error, just so you know. And if your bottom is a little kind of off, that's okay, because look, the green paper is going to go on the bottom, so it's okay. All right. Now we're going to trim the angled, and we're going to cut it 2 inches and 1 7/8. So we want this side to be 2 inches. And we'll see if this one is 2 7/8 or 1 7/8. So this is going to go here. And if you want a little bit more matting, you can trim off a little bit. and then here. So I think I will do that, just trim it a tad on the side. But then we're going to adhere that. So I'm just going to trim it a smidgen. Okay. So let's go ahead and put these pieces in. I have blue on my hands. I think from that. Okay. All right. Now guess what? We need to do the same thing with our tie-dye paper. And the reason being is you do see the back of this, so just putting a little bit of the tie-dye will also be kind of cool. But you do have to kind of keep in mind which side the angle's going. So I think we should turn it over so we know that we want this side of the paper. Make that pencil mark and trim. Then we need to cut at 2, which I'm going to bring it in just a little bit because I cut off that smidgen. And then the 1 7/8, which I bet you I'm going to do a little bit less. And we are going to have to cut the bottom off as well, about 1/4 inch. So I hope you followed along with what I did. Basically, just making these little pieces. So I went ahead and I traced, cut, and then I cut the panels. So let's go ahead and just put these on the back. Look how nice that looks. I love this tie-dye paper. Do you think we'll be carrying it again?
We will be. We are going to restock on some of our out-of-stock papers.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
I love the tie-dye. Okay. Doesn't look like I cut the bottom of this one. So let me just cut the bottom. And this does not have to be perfect, but it's just so when you close the card, you kind of have a contrast. So now when you close it, you see how you have that kind of contrast, which I think is good. So we only need to cut one more thing here, which is going to be our green paper. Okay, so with the green paper, we are going to trim the green pattern paper 4 inches wide by 1 inch. So let's do 4 inches. One inch. And that will go on the bottom here. Just like that. Then we want this one right here at 1 7/8, and this one at, remember which one that was? I think this one was 2, right? Just make sure. don't want to make a mistake at this juncture. Okay, so this one is, you're going to match this paper, so I'm just going to put this here. It's kind of a little less than 2, so 1 7/8, and this one is also going to be around there. So let's start with that. So it looks like we're at the 1 inch. And if you want, this is another way to kind of use your pencil just to make sure, which I think I will do. And then so now I am making it for the panels. This will go there, and then we have a slight angle, so you could make that angle any way you want. If you, you know, I'm just going to make a little angle up to the top, just to give it some interest. So this is for panel number 1, and I just went ahead and made a little bit of an angle, so I'd say that's about a 1/2 inch up to the top. Okay, guess what? We don't need cutting till we do the sentiment. Okay. So now let's put these pieces down. Okay, we got that down. And then we are going to come in and decorate a little bit. So we're going to take our straight or our scallop border, sorry. So let's find a scallop border. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and put that on the top of these green papers. Guess what? I think we can get all of the green papers with one border line. I find that exciting. So I'm going to head and putting this scallop on the top of each of these. Okay. Now we can go ahead and do the sentiment, and to do that we're going to use our scrap paper. So this looks like it is, I could read the instructions, but I think it is, it's hard to read right now, 3/4 maybe less than 3/4. So I'm just going to come in here, I think it's 5/8, and I'm just going to cut that, and then we'll cut the length that we need, and we're going to do the same thing with our white triangle. Where'd that go, Michelle? Did you see where I put that? Here it is. Okay, this right here is 5/8
in front of you.
Okay. I was trying to see how long. I could read the instructions, but I just double checking. Looks like 3 3/4. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to chop off where it's at an angle. going to turn this around and do 3 3/4. So I've now used my scrap for that, and I want 3 1/2 by 1/2. So let's make this the 1/2. And you know, we've had extra white paper, so if you don't want to use your scrap that you got in this, that's okay. Use the other white paper in your kit. But this is 3 1/2. And I might chop this off a little bit. Okay. Look at that, using our scraps. How fun. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to put this white down onto the blue. And I'm just going to trim like 1/8 of an inch off because I want a tight fit. Okay, and now that goes right there. And this should be the guts of the card, basically, and we're going to put our sentiment on next. Isn't that cute? So let's go ahead and get our sentiment. So it says a special day, correct? So I believe we find that on our sticker. Right here, the one with the balloons, and it says a special day. So I'm going to go ahead, zoom in. I keep doing the opposite. Okay, so we're going to put a special day. I'm going to put the word special first. A and then day. Go in with your tweezers or your weeding tool, kind of get anything that's in there out. And for this right here, this little paw print, that was the inside of a sticker that we're going to use here. You can choose to do that, but if you do, when the negative's here, I just picked it up and placed it the way I want it. So I'm going to let you figure that out, but that's what that was right there. Okay, so now that we've done that, other than putting the dots, which I really suggest you do after you put these images on, you can follow the picture. We just need to do what's here on our glitter paper. And we'll get our glitter paper. I have the ultimate mess going on here. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, glitter paper. We need the happy birthday circle. Well, that was a little fast how I peeled it. Okay, don't do what I did. I was a little fast how I peeled that. Okay, so we'll go ahead, put this down. There we go. Then we are going to use these balloons. Now what's so phenomenal about the balloons? They are not hooked to the string. So therefore, you can put the string on separately, which I love. So we have that one, and then we have two others. One, two, okay. That's it from this one, other than you're going to use your string here and your string here. Okay, so we'll go that one and then the dog. I love this birthday dog. Should we name this dog, Michelle?
What would you name it?
I don't know.
Looks like a Spot.
Yeah, Spot. Do you guys out there have a name that we could name our dog? Do you think it's Bailey?
No, it doesn't look like Bailey. I have a German Shepherd. She's taking a nice snooze right now.
She is. Okay, so there's our dog. We need the fire hydrant. I will say when you do fancy fold cards, you need more stickers because it tends to have more room that you need to fill up. And therefore, you need more stickers. So we are using these balloons. Now these balloons are attached the string. So remember, you don't want that string, so I'm going to put it here on the side. We don't want to fussy cut that. We have some solid dog bones, and then we have this little tennis ball. And I think that's, we need a hat. Now when you do the hat, I did not put this on the glitter paper. I put the hat on the dog directly on the card. So I colored the card stock. So this is not glitter. If you want it to be glitter, then you need to put it on here. Okay? All right. Next step is going to be burnish. Do you see my, oh, here it is. It was hiding. Okay, so we're going to burnish. Alright, now I forgot to bring over the other eye here, so let me do that on the dog.
Poor Spot.
Yeah, there we go. And I forgot, I think there's a heart right in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick our colors. So let's do this happy birthday first. I'm trying to see where everybody could see how I did this. Here we go. So we're going to look for that R 1.5, OR 2.5, O 2.4, and the Y 2.3. So I have 4 colors going on here. You could kind of see red to dark orange, light orange to yellow. So we're going to come in here. We're going to start with the red, and we're going to go on the bottom, and we're going to do kind of the same thing we did with that cheers. So I am now going to my darker orange. So I'm going from red to dark orange. And I'm making kind of that gradient color. Then I'm going to go in with this lighter orange. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Make sure it's blended well. And then I'm going to finish with the yellow. And that's all there is to doing that gradient right there. Now if later you wanted a little bit more darker orange, come in and just go up a little bit more. But that's how I did that. Isn't that pretty? So now let's do our balloons. So on the balloons I'm using this light and dark orange. So we're just going to come in. We're going to do that dark orange. put on this big balloon here. Come in with the light orange. I think orange and blue look so good together. They're very complementary. Okay, so there's that. And then on the small one, we have a couple orange. So we have one of these smaller ones here are orange. So again, dark. And I'm just going to pop over here and I'm going to do this. And then we can go in with our light orange. And kind of finish those balloons. Okay, now the other color that we're using is our blue. So I'm going to use 2.6 for this one. So this is B 2.6. It's kind of dark, so you have to be careful. And then I'm going to come in with this B 2.2. Okay, so then 2.6. This is very juicy, so I don't know if you could see that, but it's really juicy. So it's really coming out under here, so you have to be a little bit careful. Sometimes the markers get like that, and you just need to be a little careful. There's not a lot you could do. What I do tend to do is kind of rub them on a scratch paper, and then they kind of even out. So if it should blob out ever on your glitter paper, take a napkin or a piece of paper, just put it down, lift it up, and it's amazing. The glitter paper, it's okay with that, so it's not hard. Whereas if you're on cardstock, that's a little tough because unfortunately there's not a lot you can do if it blobs onto the cardstock. Okay, now our fire hydrant, we're going to do this R 1.5 because of course a fire hydrant is red. Whoops, I guess I'm going to do that. And then we'll use this 5.1 to kind of add a little shading. And then on the inside here, we'll just kind of put that light color 5.1. Okay, now let's put a little bit of red. Now around here, I'm going to let you guys do this, but you're going to have to take your little weeding tool or poker and get these little dots out because they don't like to come out when they're this tiny, so you're going to have to help them along. Once you get that out, you're going to take your red, go around the outside so that you can see that's what I did right here, and then the brown inside. Okay, so we need that silver color, which was that 7BG7 something. Where'd it go? I know I had it. BG right here. Okay, so BG 7.3. There we go with that. And all we have left is the little paw here. Here's this. And then we have our dog. I'm using my same colors I've been using all day, which is this 4.6. And 4.3. think I'm going to need a replacement for this 4.3. Gonna have to switch.
Something to note is that the markers you have to replace are usually the lighter ones, and that's because we do most of the blending with them. The dark ones are very pigmented and they last a very long time because we're not using as much. Right, Kara?
Yes, and that is really easy to do, to change them. We'll be having videos on that. So I switched out, and I'm going to show you how you know if you need a new marker. Just a moment. But that dog came out looking cute. Very cute. So I switched to this OR 3.4. But when the marker is getting dry and you're coloring, can you see how that's white white at the tip? Maybe if I get in the camera, white at the tip right there. So it's turning white and there's no color left. So that's when you need to replace it. Okay, so then I want to do his eyes. So I'm just going to kind of add a little eye in there. And you could put a dark eyebrow, but that's it. Look at that. We got our balloons, we got our happy birthday. Oh, we didn't do our little ball. So we will do the tennis ball, which I'm using this YG 2.1, and I'll be using YG 2.5. Okay, now we have it all. So you could do your hat, which is the same orange and blue, either on the glitter paper or on the paper. But now that we've done all that, you would go ahead, trim these out, and then let's look at our card and see how this works. So we would put the dog with the single balloon and the string, his hat. We could add hearts and a little dot and the ball. Then we could open this up and we have our fire hydrant, our dog paw. I put 2 little solid bones and the group of balloons. And notice I put a star in each of these balloons. This I used some Pop Dot Dimensionals to put the circle. I put the single and then that group that was on the dog sticker. And then don't forget to add your little dots because the dots make everything right there. And then there you go. Isn't that cute? All right, we are on our last one. So we are going to go right into it. And it's going to be a fancy fold with this cute little bee card. And I'm going to get our packet, so it should be your last packet. And it does have some pink paper in it because that's going to help you with making some of the fold pieces. So we are going to need our beehive and this one, which is Be Kind. And we are ready to go. Are you ready, Michelle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody for hanging in here with us. So here we go. Let's look at the card first. Look.
She's very cute.
Okay, so here's the outside of the card. This is the inside.
Ooh, ah.
So, isn't that fun? So this is what we're going to make now. And let's get started. So we have our stickers here. We're going to put them to the side. And we're going to take everything out. And again, we're going to have an envelope, which we don't need to use right now. This pink is going to be used for a template. So that's why we have pink to help us. And then let's see what we need to do to start making this card. So find your scoreboard because you are going to need the scoreboard. Okay, trim the black cardstock 8.5 by 5.5, so it already is. So we're going to then score at 4 1/4 and fold. So we're going to get our scoring board, 4 1/4, and fold. Okay. So now that we have done that, the next thing is trim a template from the triangle from the pink cardstock. Okay. So we're going to use this pink cardstock, and we're going to mark at 2 3/4 with the pencil. So 2 3/4. Maybe it would help if I go to the edge here. Well, it would help if I could see it. So we'll go like this. 2 3/4. And then 3.5. So we want 3.5 this way. We are going to make a triangle. So where our marked edges are. So now we have a triangle just like this. So it should be 2 3/4 and 3.5. Okay. Now, using the template, mark the black cardstock as shown in the photo. So what that means is if you open this up, and remember this is a landscape card, so that means that it's going to be 5.5 wide. We're going to do this, and we are going to now look at marking the triangle. So we want it to come in with this way. So we're going to mark it and mark it. If you want to make a line, you can. Okay? Then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Now this is where you're going to need to score so that it will fold. So for this, I kind of use my paper trimmer. I found it easier to kind of put it in the groove. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but it's not too hard once you get it started. Hey, that one was really good. I didn't do so good on the other one, so let's just do it again. Okay. So if you turn that over, you could kind of see my scored lines right here. I don't know if you could see them, but you should be able to see yours. So then the way this is going to fold is this is going to go in and these are going to go out. So we want this to be like that, this to be like that, and this to go in. Look at that, Michelle, it's magic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, and then use your bone folder to really get that down. Okay? So when you open it, it will open like this. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're going to go to the honeycomb papers. And we're going to trim both the honeycomb papers 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I believe they're already 4 inches, and we need to cut them at 5 1/4. So 5 1/4, 5 1/4. Okay. Now, the honeycomb papers are going to go on the front here, so if it helps, have your card handy a little bit. And so when you put this here, we're going to use that template to kind of how to trim these. And it's going to be one here and then one on the inside, okay? So the way that this is going to go, you could kind of see. That you want it to be with the longer side this way. Okay, then on this one, you want it to go down. So, you want your triangle to be like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut those.
Is this authentic paper?
The honeycomb is Doodlebug.
Oh.
And if you have pencil marks, you can erase them. Showing still. So I have a little bit on here, so I'm just going to erase this. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those down just so we have that part done. So you should be able to see how that goes here. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put that one up here. If you like this other side, which are these little beads, you could use that too. Okay. So now that we've done that, if we go back to our instructions, the next thing is trim the white cardstock. So we have to do the same thing because it's down here. So we need to use our template. We need to cut this 4 by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 by 4. Then I like to kind of hold this up and just to make sure I get the angle right. So what I really want is not that, the shell. I think I want it like, oh, I need to cut this part off. That's why I was all confused.
Yeah.
See, so we're going to put it up here like that. We're going to cut this. That's why I like to have my card here so I don't make a mistake. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and put this in here. Okay, so now we only have one more thing to do, which are these striped papers in terms of the triangle. So if you look at this, these are the triangles right here. However, what I need you to be aware of is these stripes. So if you want them to go the same way, you really have to think about how to cut the stripes, and that is why we gave you extra paper. So what I would suggest you do is hold it the way it's supposed to go, and then look at your paper and cut it that way. Okay. So here's this one. So let's do one at a time, because trust me from experience, you'll want to get it right. Okay, so this one is going to go up here, and you have to make sure that the paper is inside the score lines here. So I'm going to trim just a smidgen off the bottom and the side, because it won't fold if you don't do that. Okay. Make sure you're inside those score lines. All right, so we got that. Then we want this one. So again, I would put the paper the way it's supposed to go, which is this way, and the triangle the way it's supposed to go. I like this paper too. This is the Krazy paper.
Yeah, this is our paper.
And then we're going to cut that smidgen for the matting. And we don't want it to be on the score line. So from the straight sides, I'm just cutting off, about an 1/8, 1/16 of an inch or so. Not a lot. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so now we should have the guts of the paper part, and we just need to now cut this little part down here, which is 5 1/4 by 3/4. So let's cut 5 1/4, 3/4, and we will get that on the bottom. Okay, and it looks like the only other, we have to do that again. So we need another 3/4. going to put that on the front. And then the only other cutting that we have is to do our sentiment here. So that looks like a 1/2 inch by 1 3/4. So I'm going to take this little scrap piece that I have. I'm sure you can find some in some of the stash from today. I'm going to do 1 3/4. And I am going to put my sentiment over here. So Be Kind is on this one right here. Be kind. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and make a banner end. So I'm going to come in, cut down the center, cut from corner to corner. And there's my banner. We're going to put that on the front of the card. There's right here. Okay, now it's time to look for our border. This is a straight border here.
I believe that's a scallop.
Oh, it is a scallop. Thank you. Good thing you're paying attention.
Well, the straight would look pretty as well, but the scallop gives it a little something, something, you know?
Yeah, so we're going to put the scallop right here. All right. And then we are also going to look for our beehive, which is right on our sticker sheet. And that beehive is going to go right over here. Okay, so you want to make sure that's burnished down a little bit. And then you want to take out if you have any of these leaves. Okay. Now, these little bees here, I put directly on the paper. So that's these little bees right here. So here's one. Here's another. And we'll put one more. And again, burnish. Then I simply took my marker and I colored. So maybe I want this to be a flower, so I put it purple and I colored directly on the paper. This up here, YG 2.5. Okay, and then for the bees, if it had the dark part in there, I left it in there. because I wanted it to be black, so I didn't bother to take that out, but I'm going to take this little curly part out. And if one of them didn't come over, you can go back and try to put it in there, or you can color. So I think I'm going to try to take a bigger part of it. And put it in there. Okay, so now I just have to color the middle of the bee yellow and the wings a blue. And you know what? I don't always color the whole thing. Sometimes I just let it stop just because I think it looks cool that way. But that's how that looks right there. All right, so we got all of this done here. And then up here, again, we're going to put our bees directly on the beehive paper and our branch here. So the branch is on the small sticker, and we're just going to stick it on here so that the honeycomb can come down. And then you can put some leaves. Whatever you want to do is fine. Of course, you better make sure it's actually on the twig. And then the bees are the same exact thing that we just did. So we're going to use the bee. I'm going to let you finish out the bees, but basically you're going to peel back whatever black part you want, put it in, and then color, just like we did. The leaves are the green. Don't forget to burnish though, because you don't really want any bleeding, okay? So then we're going to put the Be Happy on the bottom. Be happy. And if you wanted to, you could say, don't worry, be happy. If you want to keep adding, why not? Okay, so there's be happy. We also have a little heart that we could put in here. And if you wanted to color that part, you could. So the rest of it is basically going to be on the glitter paper. Okay, so let's go to our glitter paper. To find my glitter paper. Here it is. So let's get that honeycomb. Look at all the extra glitter paper you guys are going to have here. It's a lot. We'll put our honeycomb here. Okay. We need our jar of honey. And our little wooden stick. Honey, what do they call this stick? I don't know. But I don't want to do the big part, so I'm going to put that there. Oh, we needed to put our little beehive. I didn't do that. On the side over here. And we didn't put in our little border either. Boy, oh boy. So you're going to trim this. And then we're going to put our scallop. On the bottom. You know, and if you want to put some of those little dots in here, you should. Alright, so don't forget beehive, border, scallop, just to kind of decorate a little bit. So now that we have that, we're back to our glitter. So we have the honey, and the word honey is on your sticker sheet. So I'm just going to put that on here. Get the inside of the E out.
Of course, you can use your poker as well.
Yes, you can. And then on the front part, we have, on the Be Kind, we have the cute bee girl. And then you can put as many of these little flowers as you want. Okay, and the flowers, I'll just put a couple on here, but I did do 4 of them. Oops. I got a part in there, Michelle. There, got it out. Okay, there's the flower and 1 more of those, and then we're on to the coloring. Go. Okay, so now, as we all know, we need to take our brayer, make sure that we get that down, and then we're going to come along and we're going to color. So for her dress, I think I'm going to go a little lighter than I did in the sample. I'm going to do B1.4 and BV 1.1, which were the same colors as I did the cupcake. So I'm going to come in to her dress. Now if you wanted to go dark, I'd had BV 1.7. I'm going to show you when you put that in, it's really dark. So I feel like, if you know, it's a little too dark. So I just put a little tiny bit in, and then I'll take my lightest color, which was the BV 1.1. There. I think that looks nicer. And then for the honey, I'm going to go ahead and do the BV 1.4. And the 1.1. Again, if you want to add a little bit of that dark color, you can, but just do it sparingly. Otherwise, I think it tends to get too dark. Okay, now for the girl. Let's keep going with the girl. We have her skin, and I tend to use 4.2. This is OR 4.2. And if you want to lighten it up, you can go in with 1.1, but my markers are everywhere. Here it is, OR 1.1. So I kind of put a little bit where I want the shadow, the lighter part, like that. Okay, now for the wings, we want this light turquoise blue, 2.2. And we're going to come in with our colorless blender. Okay, now for the hair, been using the same colors all day. 4.6, 4.3, however, my 4.3 is on the needing to be refilled list, so I'm going to go to this 3.4 and use that. Okay, now we need to do her shoes and her hat. So I'm actually going to use the gray for not the black. So I'm going to go in with this WG9. Oops, I kind of went outside the line, but that's okay because we will be trimming it. So every other one. And then WG3 to give it some shading. Okay, then for the shoes, we'll just kind of put it with the 9. And we need to go to our yellow, Y2.3. Now this had a little bit of orange in it from a previous coloring, which I kind of like actually. Okay, and then you have to do the little antennas, so you really should make sure that you burnished pretty good. Okay, there's the girl.
Super cute.
And now we just need the flowers, which I just did with this O2.4. And you don't have to worry about how you color it because you're going to cut that out and put a dot in the middle. And then purple. Okay, then all we have to do is color our honey. And I really think you guys know we're just going to come in Y2.3. Y2.2, same with the beehive, 2.3, and I'm probably going to put a little bit of brown on this beehive, so I'm just using 2.3. Put a little bit of, whoops, that was the brown that we're out of. Just put a little bit, just to kind of give it some definition here. We'll come back with the 2.3. See how that kind of gives it a little bit of shadow? And then we'll use our 2.2. And we'll get the door. Okay, and then for the wood, go with that. And if you want to add a darker, you can, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And then there's all our coloring. So then once you have that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out all the pieces. And you're just going to use your adhesive and put them in there. I love this fancy fold card. I think it is so cute. So let's go over all the cards we made today, and then we will sign off so you can keep working away. All right, so we started out with our cute bathrobe card, which is, we're going to be sending you the get well soon. Then we did our stacked gifts card. We did our fun Yupo Rose card, which is a sympathy card. Then we went into the cheers, which will be sending you the glitter part. Then we did this beautiful Hey cupcake. We did the fun fancy fold birthday dog. And then we just ended with the bee. What do you think, Michelle?
I think they're all so lovely. I don't know what favorite I have.
Aren't they cute?
You know, if I had to pick one, I think the birthday dog.
It's cute.
It is.
But anyway, we had so much fun. This was Michelle's maiden voyage, mine as well from the technical side. We did have a couple little things in the beginning, but I think we did okay. What do you think?
Yeah.
So we hope you had fun. The next Krafter box will be very shortly coming out, and it will be the spring edition, so you'll want to be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, don't forget crazycreations.us. Go shopping, and we will see you soon. So I'm Kara.
And I'm Michelle.
And we are signing off on this Crazy Krafter.